Why does NATO matter? Here's an old story that you may have heard before. In 1932, on the eve of Hitler's rise to power, Einstein asked Freud, "Why war?" Freud replied, "Because man is what he is." War remains an unwelcome constant of the human experience. It has occurred since the beginning of known history and continues today. Despite this, we do try to prevent it. After the utter devastation of World War II, in response to the growing threat of militarism and Soviet expansion in Europe, NATO, one of the world's oldest international military alliances, came into existence.
Men with courage and vision can still determine their own destiny. They can choose slavery or freedom, war or peace.
In the Second World War, something like 80 million people died. There was countless destruction and devastation all over the world. And the Allies said never again. NATO was created along with the United Nations, the Bretton Woods agreements, and things like the International Criminal Court to make sure that the conditions which led to the Second World War would not be repeated. And the way that they would not be repeated would be through Allied integration and interoperability.
We will now proceed to the signing of the North Atlantic Treaty.
From my perspective, NATO is an important organization because it fosters collaboration amongst different actors who are engaging in the security space. When we work in silos, whether it's at the national level or the local level or regional level, it actually creates more risks because people aren't communicating with each other, and then you have a greater risk for conflict breaking out until we all cooperate as different segments of society together in order to advance peace and security. It's unlikely to happen.
In my opinion, NATO as not only a security institution, but a symbolic political instrument is really important because I saw that in my own country. Their symbolic presence in Afghanistan really cautions against regional powers that could really intrude into Afghanistan. The symbolic presence in Afghanistan, it really prevented the regional power or warlords that could have really toppled the central government. So NATO still has that thing to it, that power of a security institution.
Most of human civilization has served the needs of the few and the powerful. And I don't want to stand here and claim that somehow NATO has managed to make all of that vanish, right? But I think that it's a very powerful step in the right direction. The fact that when Latvia speaks up, or when Macedonia now speaks up, that's heard by the United States, and that's given equal weight with the voice of the United States, or the voice of Britain, right? Or the voice of France. That's a really powerful thing.
I have a hard time kind of divorcing why is NATO important with how NATO kind of works within the Women, Peace and Security agenda.
Please raise their hand. The draft resolution has been adopted unanimously as Resolution 1325.
We've decided collectively, and by collectively I mean mostly the global north, has decided that we're going to securitize sexual violence specifically, but on a broader scope, we're going to securitize what kind of peace processes look like. And I think NATO is one of those instruments that can implement quicker than kind of a slow, bureaucratic UN Security Council process.
A lot of the nations that are part of NATO may not have implemented the WPS agenda in an operational way. So I think by taking part in those missions, by being part of NATO military operations, other nations will learn from this and will learn best practices on how to implement an effective WPS and gender mainstreaming within their operational efforts, and better engage with civil society, better protect also locals from conflict and their impacts. You know, we learn a lot from other nations and how others are implementing things, and I think in the end, like, NATO can really help advance the women, peace and security agenda this way.
NATO in the world, in this current world security situation, I feel it should exist because I can't imagine a world without NATO right now.
I think NATO matters because it's a values-driven alliance. It represents some of the ideals that Canada really stands for and tries to promote globally. So whether that's democracy, open societies, freedom of information, and then just global governance as well. The idea that countries can work together to achieve collective good. There are challenges right now to multilateralism. There's a lot of sense that countries are better off on their own. And I think that that's flawed for many reasons. And I think that Canada benefits in a number of ways through its involvement in multilateral organizations like NATO. And I think that it's a way for us to play a strong role in the global community, as well as to project our values around the world.
70 years ago, a generation exhausted by war witnessed the beginning of an unparalleled alliance. But in a world of new threats and growing uncertainty, we must decide its future. And we are. We have ideas, from changing NATO's strategic focus to security sector reform, to growing the alliance beyond the North Atlantic, to professionalizing its gender advisory program, and allocating more resources to create further space for women in security and peacemaking. But despite these ideas to fix NATO's shortcomings, for many, NATO's future is deceptively clear. It must remain.
I don't blame people who are talking about, how NATO's going to evolve, because don't get me wrong, there may be some capacity to which we do need to change. But the core of what this is, to me, that needs to stay the same. Right? Regardless of, changing international politics. Our goal is to keep this as bedrock, right? And that's what NATO is. It's bedrock for the international stage. And that's also why it should scare us when something like that gets called into question. Yeah, we might need to adapt every once in a while, but what we really need to do is stay firm. And that's my take on that.
NATO matters as it helps to promote peace and security for countries all around the world, and especially the NATO country members. As NATO's mandate is that attack against one is an attack against all. And it just helps to show that all the countries are tied together and work in peace.
In all of human history, there have been small pockets when peace has reigned. If we stop supporting NATO, I fear for the peace which we have enjoyed over the past 70 years. We can't take peace for granted. And that's why NATO matters.